China just buried every American robot company, and the numbers are so lopsided it's not even a competition anymore. In 2025, Chinese companies shipped 90% of all humanoid robots on the planet. Not 9%, 90. And in 2026, just two Chinese firms, Unitree and AgiBot, are scaling production capacity to 75,000 units a year. That's more than the entire combined output of every robotics company in the United States and Europe, combined. Here's the part that should make every defense and tech investor in America stop cold. The Unitree G1 humanoid robot sells for $16,000. Boston Dynamics' closest comparable product? Over $150,000. That's not a price gap, that's a tenth of the cost. Which means for every one robot an American company can afford to deploy, China can put 10 in the field. And they are, right now. In factories, airports, power grids, and retail stores across Asia and beyond. While Boston Dynamics racks up viral videos of Atlas doing backflips, China is racking up deployment data from tens of thousands of robots doing actual work in actual environments. The West is winning the PR war. China is winning the war that matters. Think about what that price difference actually means in practical terms. A mid-sized manufacturing facility in Ohio that budgets $3 million for automation can afford maybe 20 Boston Dynamics robots. That same $3 million in Shenzhen buys you 187 Unitree units. You're not just getting more robots, you're getting more data, more redundancy, more coverage, more iteration cycles, and more operational learning in the same budget window. The math doesn't just favor China. It makes competing with China almost structurally impossible unless something changes fast, and it gets worse. In 2025, China installed 70% of all industrial robots deployed globally, 276,000 units. That's not humanoid robots for show. That's the invisible backbone of manufacturing automation. Their robot density is 392 robots per 10,000 workers, third highest in the world. The Chinese robotics market hit $14.2 billion in 2026, growing at 47% year over year, the fastest of any major economy, and they own 190,000 robotics patents. That's 2/3 of the entire global total. You cannot outbuild, outpatent, or outdeploy an opponent who controls that much of the intellectual property landscape and the manufacturing base simultaneously. But here's what makes those patent numbers even more dangerous. This isn't just about legal protection. Every one of those patents represents a solved engineering problem, a tested design, a validated approach to manipulation, mobility, power management, or sensor fusion. When you control 2/3 of the global robotics patent pool, you're not just blocking competitors, you're defining what the next generation of robots will even look like. And if American companies want to build anything in this space without licensing Chinese IP, they're going to have to reinvent solutions that Beijing already owns and has already moved past. The real humiliation isn't the robots themselves, it's the system that builds them. A robotics prototype that takes 12 weeks to fabricate in the United States or Germany can be turned around in 10 to 14 days in Shenzhen, at a fraction of the cost. And that speed advantage isn't about cutting corners. It's about a supply chain so tightly integrated that the same motors, actuators, and drive systems being mass-produced for electric vehicles are being redeployed directly into humanoid robots. China didn't just build a robotics industry. They built a cross-industry manufacturing engine, where EV tech, AI hardware, and robotics share components, suppliers, and production lines. The efficiency gains are unfair, and by unfair, I mean structurally unstoppable. You want a specific example of how insane that integration is? The harmonic drive gears that control precision joint movement in humanoid robots, the kind of component that used to be exclusively made by Japanese suppliers and cost thousands of dollars per unit, are now being produced at scale by Chinese EV part manufacturers who already had the tooling and metallurgy expertise from building electric motor gearboxes. They didn't start from scratch. They adapted existing production lines, and now those gears cost a fraction of what they used to, and they're available with lead times measured in days, not months. That's not innovation in the traditional Silicon Valley sense. That's industrial warfare through supply chain optimization, and it's devastatingly effective. Here's what that looks like on the ground. Chinese robots are connecting high-voltage battery systems in gigafactories with a 99% success rate. They're moving luggage autonomously in airports. They're stocking shelves, greeting customers, and maintaining electrical grids. These aren't demo units. These are production deployments generating real-world operational data every single day. And every hour those robots operate, Chinese AI models get better at manipulation, navigation, and decision-making in unstructured environments. Meanwhile, American robots are still largely confined to controlled labs and carefully staged demonstrations. The data gap alone is starting to look insurmountable. And that data gap matters more than almost anything else. Because the dirtiest secret in robotics is that the hardware is only half the problem. The other half is teaching robots to handle the chaos of the real world. Uneven floors, bad lighting, objects in unexpected places, humans walking into the path of a moving arm. You can't solve those problems in simulation. You need millions of hours of real-world operation. And China is collecting that data right now, from deployments across hundreds of facilities, while American companies are still trying to secure their Series B funding and arguing over which LiDAR sensor to use. By the time a US robotics startup gets to pilot deployment, Chinese competitors will have already refined their models on operational data that no amount of money can replicate overnight. And Beijing isn't waiting to see if this momentum holds. The 15th five-year plan, covering 2026 to 2030, has elevated robotics and what they call embodied intelligence to the same strategic tier as nuclear fusion and quantum computing. The Chinese government is allocating roughly $42 billion in subsidies for AI and robotics over that period. That's not venture capital. That's state-directed industrial policy with a single goal: total dominance of the physical AI layer. Robotics isn't a sector for China, it's a civilizational priority. And those $42 billion aren't being sprayed around like lottery tickets. They're being deployed with surgical precision. Subsidies for companies that hit production targets. Grants for firms that achieve cost reductions. Incentives for deployments in strategic sectors like energy, logistics, and manufacturing. Beijing learned from the solar panel and EV playbook. You don't just fund research. You fund scale. You fund deployment. You fund the entire stack until your companies own the market and everyone else is playing catch-up with funding models that can't compete. It worked for solar, it worked for batteries, it worked for EVs, and now it's working for robots. But the scope of that investment reveals something even more alarming. This isn't just about building robots. It's about building the entire industrial base that makes robots inevitable. Training programs for robotics technicians, subsidized leases for companies that deploy automation, tax breaks for manufacturers that integrate robots into production lines, funding for universities that produce robotics engineers. This is a whole-of-economy mobilization. The US is still treating robotics like a tech sector. China is treating it like the future of national power. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. The US still leads in AI. We've got the best models, the best researchers, the best software infrastructure. And that's true, for now. But here's the problem. All that AI horsepower means nothing if you can't deploy it into the physical world at scale and at cost. China's advantage isn't that their robots are smarter. It's that they can build 10 robots for every one the US builds, deploy them faster, iterate on real-world data sooner, and do it all while controlling the entire supply chain, from rare earth minerals to final assembly. Software leadership without hardware deployment is just expensive research. China understood that. Washington is still figuring it out. And here's the kicker. American AI labs are burning billions of dollars training ever larger language models that can write better emails and generate better images. That's fine. But while OpenAI and Anthropic are competing to build AGI in the cloud, China is building AGI that can walk, grab, lift, and assemble. The embodied intelligence race isn't about who has the best transformer architecture. It's about who can get capable AI into physical form at a price point and scale that changes industries. And right now, that's not us. There's another angle to this that nobody's saying out loud. While the US has spent the last 3 years tightening export controls on semiconductors and AI chips, China responded by going all in on the one domain where chip restrictions matter less: robotics. You don't need a cutting-edge 3-nanometer chip to run a warehouse robot or assemble a battery pack. You need good enough processors, great sensors, and a supply chain that can deliver at speed and cost. And China has all three. The export controls were designed to slow Chinese AI. Instead, they pushed China to dominate the physical layer of AI, which might end up mattering more. Think about the strategic irony here. Washington celebrated when ASML was blocked from selling EUV lithography machines to China. We cheered when NVIDIA was banned from exporting H100 GPUs. We thought we were building a moat, but we were so focused on the digital layer that we completely missed the physical one. And now China has a robotics ecosystem that doesn't need cutting-edge chips to be devastatingly effective. They've optimized for the 80% solution at 10% of the cost. And in a race to deploy millions of robots into the real economy, 80% at 10% cost beats 100% at full price every single time. We won the battle for semiconductor supremacy and might be losing the war for physical AI dominance because we were playing the wrong game. Even Silicon Valley is starting to admit it. The Silicon Valley Robotics Center released a report this year that didn't call China a threat. It called China the most important partnership opportunity in global robotics. Read that again. The heart of American innovation is effectively saying the future of robotics runs through Beijing whether we like it or not. That's not collaboration. That's capitulation dressed up in diplomatic language. When the people who are supposed to be building the future are instead talking about partnering with the country that's already built it, you know the gap isn't closing, it's widening. And while all this is happening, Tesla's Optimus robot, the one Elon has been promising will change everything, remains vaporware at scale. A handful of prototypes, no confirmed third-party deployments, no published pricing, no production timeline that anyone believes. Meanwhile, Unitree has a consumer-grade mech suit called the GD01 that you can physically buy. Limex Dynamics has a modular robot called Tron 2 that reconfigures between bipedal, quadrupedal, and wheeled modes on the fly. Swancore's Quester 1 does the same. These aren't visions, they're shipping products. Tesla keeps putting out videos of Optimus folding laundry in a controlled environment. Impressive, sure, but Unitree is selling robots that cost $16,000 and can be deployed tomorrow. One is a demo, the other is a product. One generates Twitter engagement, the other generates operational data and revenue. And every day that gap persists, Tesla falls further behind in the one thing that matters most in robotics: real-world deployment hours. Elon can promise that Optimus will be better, smarter, more capable. Maybe it will be. But if it costs 10 times more and ships 3 years later, it doesn't matter. The war will already be over. The strategic divergence is now undeniable. Washington is doubling down on semiconductors and AI model leadership. Beijing is doubling down on robotics, physical AI, and the infrastructure to deploy it at civilizational scale. And here's the thing nobody in Washington seems to be reckoning with. By the time the US decides to catch up in robotics, China will have already set the global standards, locked in the supply chain, and gathered years of deployment data that no amount of capital can replicate quickly. The White House is reportedly considering an executive order on robotics for late 2026. The question nobody's asking out loud is whether that's 5 years too late. Because here's what happens when you let an opponent build an insurmountable lead in a strategic industry. They don't just win the market, they define the market. Chinese robots will set the international standards for safety, interoperability, and performance. Chinese firms will dominate the global supply chain for actuators, sensors, and control systems. Chinese deployment data will train the models that every other country licenses. And by the time American companies are ready to compete, they'll be competing in a landscape that China designed, on terms that China set, with supply chains that China controls. We've seen this movie before with solar panels and batteries. We know how it ends. And it's not just about economics. This is about hard power. Robots that can build weapons can build them faster than humans. Robots that can maintain power grids can also sabotage them. Robots that can assemble batteries can assemble drones. The country that controls the robotics layer controls the pace of production in every sector that matters for national security. And right now, that country isn't us. If China can produce robots at 1/10 the cost, deploy them at 10 times the scale, and improve them with real-world data, while American robots are still stuck in demo mode, then what exactly is the plan? How does the US compete in a domain where the opponent controls the entire stack, from raw materials, to production, to deployment, to iteration? And if the country that invented modern robotics can't figure out how to build robots at scale anymore, what does that say about where the rest of this century is actually headed?